The scream echoed down the narrow dormitory hallway long before anyone understood where it came from. A metal tray clattered to the floor, footsteps pounded, and doors swung open one after another. By the time two students pushed their way into room 3C, the brightly colored scarf tied around the ceiling light swayed like it was caught in a silent wind. And beneath it hung the still body of 22-year-old Liana Velasquez. One of the girls gasped and stumbled back. "Oh my God! Someone help!" she yelled, and her voice cracked as she darted into the hall. Another girl fumbled with her phone, her hands shaking so badly the screen almost slipped from her grip. The dorm supervisor rushed in seconds later, eyes widening as she took in the sight. The overturned water jar, the cracked mirror, the torn bedsheet at the foot of the bed. None of it made sense. None of it looked peaceful. None of it looked like a suicide. But within 10 minutes of arriving, the police declared exactly that. Just another suicide. Just another case closed. What they didn't know, what nobody knew yet, was that the dorm room itself had been lying long before anyone walked into it. Liana Velasquez had grown used to people staring at her. Back home in San Miguel del Sur, she used to joke that her gray eyes made her look like she came from a storm cloud instead of her parents. "People only look because they're curious," she would say. "It doesn't mean they know me." And she meant it. She built her life on that belief, that people only ever saw the surface, not the story underneath. When she earned a scholarship to Aurora Medical College in the strict and tradition-heavy country of Kazmira, she thought she could finally focus on becoming a pediatrician, a place where she could be just another student, not the girl from the viral Instagram photos, at age 17, not the model with thousands of followers. Just Liana. Just someone who wanted to save children's lives. But nothing in Kazmira was simple. From the moment she stepped into the dormitory, her presence caused murmurs. The rules were rigid. Head coverings were mandatory. Socializing across genders was heavily restricted. And every single person seemed to have already formed an opinion about her before she even spoke. "Isn't that the girl from those pictures?" a student whispered one morning in the cafeteria, not even trying to be subtle. "Yes," another girl replied. "I heard she only wears the scarf when teachers walk by." They never said it to her face, but she heard every word. Liana learned quickly that in Kashmira, perception mattered more than truth. So she kept her head down, followed the rules, and walked to class with her scarf tightly pinned. The loneliness ate at her. The only person who softened the edges of this new world was her roommate, Mira Dasani. Mira had warm eyes, a soft voice, and an effortless ability to make people feel safe. At least, that's how she seemed at first. "You don't have to pretend with me," Mira told her one night when Liana struggled to hide her tears. "I know what girls like you go through here. I know how cruel people can be. Girls like you." Liana didn't know why the phrase stung, but she swallowed it and nodded. For a while, they were inseparable. They studied together, shared snacks, whispered jokes when the dorm lights went out. When Liana got sick once from exhaustion, Mira sat by her bed all night, gently brushing her hair away from her face. Liana thought she had finally found a friend. But friendship has a strange way of twisting when envy begins to seep in. The first shift happened slowly. Mira began asking too many questions. Where Liana went after class, who she talked to online, why she needed to continue her modeling jobs remotely. "You don't need that anymore," Mira insisted one night, crossing her arms. "Why keep inviting attention when you're trying to change? Don't you want people to respect you?" "I'm paying for my own books," Liana replied softly. "It's just work, that's all. Work that men stare at. Work that makes girls here hate you." Liana blinked. "You're not one of them, right?" Mira didn't answer. From then on, small, unsettling moments began to fill the silence between them. A misplaced notebook, messages on Liana's phone opened when she hadn't touched it, Mira's sudden mood swings, the way she hovered by the door when Liana tried to leave. One night, after drinking tea Mira made for her, Liana fell into a deep sleep so heavy, she didn't wake up until late the next afternoon. When she confronted Mira, Mira just smiled thinly. "You were tired," she whispered. "I just helped you rest." Liana didn't know what to say, but something cold settled in her stomach. The final unraveling began weeks later. Liana discovered that a group of girls had been spreading rumors about her again. Ugly, vicious lies about her behavior, her intentions, even the way she looked at people. When she asked Mira if she knew anything about it, Mira said nothing. She simply tightened her jaw and looked away. "Did you say something to them?" Liana demanded, heart pounding. Mira finally answered, her voice sharp. "I told them the truth, that you only act innocent, that you think you're better than everyone here." "How could you say that?" "Mira, I never—" "Oh, stop pretending," Mira snapped. "You think I don't see the way everyone looks at you? You love it." Liana felt her chest tighten. "That's not true. I never wanted anyone to hate me." Mira stepped closer. Too close. "Then stop giving them reasons." They didn't speak for 2 full days. Not until the hallway argument that half the dorm overheard. Liana tried to leave the room, but Mira blocked the doorway. "You're abandoning me after everything I've done for you?" Mira hissed. "I'm not abandoning you," Liana pleaded. "I just need space. Something's not right between us." Mira leaned in so close her breath touched Liana's ear. "If you leave me," she whispered, "you'll regret it." The words haunted Liana so badly that she wrote in her journal, "I don't feel safe around her anymore." 2 nights later, she posted a cryptic message online. "Your friends can be the ones who end you." That was the last thing she ever wrote. The morning she died, several students reported hearing a loud thud around 3 a.m. No one checked. No one wanted to be involved. And when the supervisor opened the door at dawn, the scarf was tied, the body was still, and the room, despite the police claim, was screaming. The officers walked in with the bored expressions of men who had already made up their minds. They didn't photograph the torn bedsheet. They didn't examine the cracked mirror or the shattered glass near the desk. One of them stepped directly on a broken fingernail without even noticing. "Clear suicide," the lead officer muttered, hands on his hips, open and shut. Someone dared to ask, "Shouldn't we at least check for signs of a struggle?" He scoffed. "Girls her age get emotional. Happens all the time." Liana's lifeless face was turned toward the window, as if she had tried to look outside one last time. Her scarf was looped awkwardly around her neck, the knot loose, the fabric too soft and slippery to bear real weight. Anyone paying attention would have noticed that. But the officers weren't looking for truth. They were looking for a conclusion. When Liana's parents arrived in Kazmira 2 days later, they were met with silence. Administrators looked away. Students whispered apologies. And when her mother, Liana Velasquez, entered room 3C for the first time after the death, she froze in the doorway. "No," she whispered, gripping her husband's arm. "This wasn't her. Ray, this wasn't our daughter." Her husband, Raphael, stood still, eyes burning holes into the air. A father can sense when something is wrong before anyone else can articulate it. He walked around the room slowly, touching nothing, observing everything. The jar on the floor, the broken mirror, the deep bruises on Liana's neck in the autopsy photo. He pointed at the picture. "These aren't from hanging," he said quietly. "These look like fingers." The local coroner disagreed, shrugging. "Birthmarks," he said. "Birthmarks," Anna snapped. "My daughter didn't have birthmarks like that. Do you think we don't know her body?" The coroner simply closed the file. Days later, during Liana's funeral, a small group of classmates approached the grieving parents. One of them, a girl with trembling hands, whispered, "We heard something the night she died." Raphael stepped closer. "What did you hear?" "A noise. Like someone fell or something heavy hit the ground. It was around 3 in the morning." Anna's breath caught. "Did you tell the police?" The girl shook her head. "They didn't ask." Another student leaned in. "We also saw someone leaving the dorm around that same time. A girl. She had her scarf wrapped tightly, and she kept looking behind her. But it was dark. We couldn't see her face." Anna swallowed hard. "Was it Mira?" The students exchanged glances, guilty and evasive. "We don't want trouble," one whispered. But they weren't friends anymore. Everyone knew they fought. The parents' hearts sank deeper. That night, back in their guest room at a cheap hotel, Anna opened Liana's journal. Midway through, written in shaky handwriting, were the words, "I feel watched. I think she came into my room while I was showering. The mirror." I don't know how it cracked. Anna's voice trembled. Raf, look. He read it twice before he spoke. They ignored all of this. All of it. The next morning, they formally requested the police reopen the case. The police declined. They demanded a second autopsy. After public pressure, the authorities reluctantly agreed. But when the second autopsy came back, it read exactly like the first, word for word. Anna broke down in Raphael's arms, sobbing into his chest. She was alone, she whispered. She was terrified, and she was alone. No, he said firmly, voice shaking. She wasn't alone. We're here now, and we won't stop. The digital anomalies surfaced not long after. Raphael was going through Liana's phone records, trying to make sense of her last day, when he noticed something alarming. Her Instagram password had been changed the morning after her death. Her final message thread was gone, completely erased, and someone had unfollowed Mira from Liana's account just hours after Liana had already been declared dead. Anna stared at the screen, horrified. Who had access to her phone? Raphael didn't answer. He didn't need to. He marched straight to the police station, slammed the printouts of the logs on the inspector's desk, and demanded an explanation. The inspector barely glanced at them. Probably she deleted everything before she passed. Raphael leaned in, jaw clenched. Look at the timestamp. That activity happened 9 hours after my daughter died. 9 hours. The inspector pushed the papers back toward him. Phones glitch, he said lazily. Phones glitch? Raphael repeated, voice rising. Phones glitch? My daughter is dead, and you think this is a glitch? Sir, the inspector warned, you need to calm down. Raphael stepped back, chest heaving, as Anna placed a hand on his arm. She spoke softly, but her eyes were steel. You don't want to find the truth, do you? There was no answer. Meanwhile, rumors around campus thickened like smoke. Students whispered about the final argument between Mira and Liana, the jealousy, the possessiveness. The nights Mira waited outside Liana's room, even after things turned sour. Some even remembered hearing Mira muttering under her breath in the cafeteria one day. She'll regret making me look like a fool. But when authorities interviewed Mira, she said only 3 words. I was asleep. When one investigator asked about the broken items in the room, Mira shrugged. Liana was dramatic, she said softly. She broke things all the time. I tried to help her. When asked about the cryptic online message, your friends can be the ones who end you, Mira looked down, twisting the edge of her sleeve. She was emotional, she murmured. She didn't mean it. But one girl in the hallway, who overheard the conversation, later whispered to a friend, she didn't look sad. She looked rehearsed. Tension around campus grew unbearable. Teachers urged everyone to stay calm. Administrators sent strict warnings against spreading false claims. Students were discouraged from speaking to the Velasquez family anymore. And then, without warning, Mira withdrew from the college, packed her belongings, left the dorm before dawn. No one saw her again. Late one night, after days of collecting scraps of information and endless silence from authorities, Anna stood alone in room 3C. The moonlight cut across the floor. The scarf was gone now. The fixture repaired, but the room still felt wrong. She walked toward the mirror, the cracked mirror the police ignored. She touched its cold surface, and her voice broke as she whispered, Liana, what happened to you? What did you see? Behind her, Raphael stood in the doorway, face pale. Anna, you need to come here. He held Liana's tablet in his hands. It just turned on, he said, by itself. But the most chilling part wasn't that it turned on. It was the notification on the screen. Login attempt from unknown device. Failed. 1 hour ago. Someone was still trying to get into Liana's accounts. Someone alive. Someone afraid. Someone not finished. Anna felt her breath freeze in her chest as she stared at the glowing notification. 1 hour ago, she whispered, but who would still be trying to get in? Raphael didn't answer. He slowly lowered the tablet, his jaw tightening with a terrible realization he wasn't ready to say out loud. Something in this city, in this college, in this very dorm, was still moving around the edges of their daughter's death. Anna took the tablet from him and held it like something fragile, something that still belonged to Liana. If she were alive, Anna whispered, eyes flooding, she'd tell us everything. She'd tell us who hurt her. Raphael placed a hand on her back. We'll find who silenced her, he murmured, even if we have to tear this system apart. The next day, the Velasquez family decided to return to room 3C once more, this time with a private investigator they had hired from another district. His name was Mateo Ruiz, a quiet, observant man who said little and noticed everything. He entered the room slowly, scanning from corner to corner. Your daughter fought, he said immediately, pointing at the broken mirror. That wasn't an accident. Look at the angle. This was hit with force. He knelt near the water jar fragments. And this fell during a struggle. Not before. Anna felt her throat tighten. The police said it was nothing, she whispered. Mateo stood up. Of course they did. They didn't want a homicide connected to this school. He examined the scarf next. Soft fabric like this doesn't hold knots under weight, he explained. This would have slipped, fast. And the bruises? No. No scarf leaves marks like fingers. Raphael clenched his fists. Then she was killed, he said, voice rough with restrained fury. Mateo didn't say yes, but the silence said it for him. A sudden knock interrupted them. The dorm supervisor appeared at the door, her eyes shifting nervously. She looked like she had been debating whether to come for hours. I heard you brought someone to look again, she whispered. Anna nodded. Please, if you know anything, the supervisor swallowed hard. I shouldn't be here, she whispered, but I can't sleep anymore. I keep seeing that room in my dreams. She stepped inside and closed the door behind her. The morning we found her, the police didn't let me speak, but I remember something strange. Anna moved closer. What did you see? The supervisor glanced at the closet, then at the window. The scarf was tied after she died, she whispered. I didn't want to believe it, but her feet were almost touching the floor. The angle wasn't right. I knew it wasn't right. Why didn't you tell anyone? Raphael asked sharply. The supervisor flinched. Because the dean told me not to get involved. He said the school's reputation was at stake, and he said Liana came from a family that might misinterpret things. Anna's voice cracked. Our daughter didn't misinterpret anything, she said through tears. She begged for help in ways no one listened to. The supervisor hesitated, then whispered, There's more. The night before she died, I saw Mira standing outside this door. She was crying, or maybe laughing. I couldn't tell. She looked wild. When she noticed me watching, she left quickly, and then she broke off, trembling. And then what? Raphael asked. And then around 3 a.m, I heard someone inside the room. But when I checked, nothing. I thought it was my imagination. I thought, maybe Liana was having a restless night. Anna closed her eyes, fighting a fresh wave of grief. The supervisor looked at them pleadingly. Please don't say I told you any of this. You'll be safe, Mateo assured her softly. Your information won't leave this room. But as she left, the supervisor glanced back once more, as if afraid someone else had heard her confession. Later that evening, Raphael and Anna walked through the courtyard, unsure what to do next. Their grief felt too large to carry, and yet they walked anyway, step by step, memory by memory, trying to hold their daughter together with their bare hands. Near the campus gate, a soft voice called out, Mr. and Mrs. Velasquez? They turned to see a timid girl standing near a tree, wringing her scarf anxiously. I shouldn't talk, she whispered, but I need to. Please, Anna said gently. We're listening. The girl stepped closer. I live next door, she said. Room 3D. The night Liana died, there was an argument. I heard someone whispering inside her room, angry whispering, and I heard Liana say, Please don't do this. Anna's heart twisted. Did you recognize the voice? The girl hesitated. I shouldn't. Raphael placed a hand over hers. Tell us, he urged softly. Please. The girl swallowed and whispered, It sounded like Mira. A cold wind moved between them, though the night was calm. The girl continued, voice quivering. But there's something else. Something worse. After the argument stopped, I heard a loud thud, then footsteps, slow ones leaving the room, and when I looked out my peephole, I saw someone wearing a teal scarf. Mira owns one, the exact same shade. Anna felt her body weaken. Raphael steadied her. "Why didn't you tell the police?" he asked the girl. Tears welled in her eyes. "I tried, but the officer said rumors weren't evidence, and the dean warned us not to speak to outsiders. He said we'd be expelled for interfering." The truth hit the parents like a physical blow. Their daughter had not just been abandoned. She had been silenced by everyone around her. That night, back in their hotel room, Anna clutched Liana's journal and pressed it to her heart. "My baby," she whispered, "you were surrounded by people who chose silence over your life. But we choose you." Raphael sat beside her, staring at the tablet again. The login attempt still haunted him. Someone was trying to erase the last traces of their daughter. He turned to Anna. "It's someone who knows what they did," he said. "Someone who's afraid we'll uncover it." The next morning, they brought everything to Mateo. The testimonies, the digital logs, the contradictions. Mateo studied it all quietly. "This isn't just negligence," he finally said. "This is intentional obstruction. Someone wanted this buried. Someone protected Mira, or someone above her." Anna felt her stomach drop. "Above her?" she echoed. Mateo nodded. "This isn't just jealousy or rage. This feels like something bigger, something institutional." But before he could explain further, Raphael's phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Stop digging, for your own safety." No signature, no name. But the threat was clear. Anna's voice trembled. "They're watching us." Mateo took the phone and studied the wording. "This means you're close," he said. "Closer than they want." The following afternoon, they returned to the dorm one last time to gather Liana's belongings. As Anna packed her daughter's things, she found one object that hadn't been touched. A small, cracked photo frame under the bed. It held a picture of Liana smiling brightly, sunlight catching those storm-gray eyes. But behind the frame, taped to the back, was a torn piece of paper. A scrap from her journal. It had just 3 words. "She knows everything." Anna stared at it, numb. "Who is she?" she whispered. Raphael turned slowly toward the window, toward the dorm building where Mira used to live. "Who do you think?" he said softly. The final report submitted by police claimed, again, that Liana Velasquez took her own life. No investigation into witnesses. No inquiry into the bruises. No search for the missing digital data. No accountability for the threats. Case closed. Truth sealed. Justice denied. And yet the room, the bruises, the erased messages, the broken glass, the neighbor's whispers, and the digital fingerprints all pointed toward one haunting reality. Liana didn't end her own story. Someone else did. And until her voice is heard, the truth will keep knocking. Just like the ghost of a girl begging someone, anyone, to look closer. If you found this story gripping and you want more deep psychological mysteries like this, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and drop a comment about what you think really happened. Your support helps uncover even darker stories.